He's actually breaking into my car in the parking lot, I actually fractured my face. He fractured my face right here.
I don't owe anyone anything. In the bright spotlight of the hit reality TV show Pawn Stars, Rick Harrison, the man behind the most famous pawn shop in America, has become a symbol of sharp wit, success, and cleverness. But behind that calm demeanor and confident smile lies a life filled with pain and unexpected darkness. Could the stories the public has heard about Rick Harrison, a man admired by millions, simply be a polished image hiding a very different reality? Are there hidden truths behind his strong exterior that would leave people shocked to discover? Let's dive into that in today's video. 1. Rick Harrison's tumultuous childhood. From an early age, Rick Harrison's life was anything but easy, marked by loss and hardship. Before achieving fame and building a successful career, he endured a series of painful experiences that helped shape the person he would become. The first tragedy the Harrison family faced happened when Rick was still a young boy. Born on March 22, 1965, Rick was the third child of Richard Benjamin Harrison and Joanne Rue Harrison, a family with a strong military background. Rick's father was a former U.S. Navy serviceman who had dedicated himself to his country, yet struggled to provide a stable life for his family. The Harrisons had 4 children, but their first major heartbreak came when Rick's eldest sister, Sherry, passed away at the age of 6 due to Down syndrome. This loss not only left a deep void in the family, but also marked the beginning of many challenges Rick would face throughout his life. At the age of 8, Rick developed epilepsy, which often left him bedridden. This period turned out to be crucial in shaping his personality and interests. Instead of wallowing in self-pity or despair, he spent his time in bed reading books, which sparked his passion for history and science. He became particularly fascinated by stories about the British Royal Navy in the 18th and 19th centuries, and was especially fond of the Great Brain Book series by John D. Fitzgerald. These books not only inspired him, but also helped him develop logical thinking and negotiation skills, tools that would prove invaluable in his future business endeavors. However, Rick's home life remained unstable. In 1967, when he was just 2 years old, his family relocated to San Diego, California, after his father received a new job assignment. There, they tried their hand at real estate, but after their business failed, the family was forced to move again, this time to Las Vegas, Nevada, in 1981. This decision would ultimately change Rick's life, bringing him closer to his career path. But it also came with its own set of challenges. Even as a teenager, Rick showed a strong sense of independence and determination. He dropped out of school in the 10th grade and began making a living by selling counterfeit Gucci bags, earning $2,000 a week, an impressive amount for someone his age. But his life became even more complicated when his girlfriend Kim became pregnant when they were both just 17. Despite being young and financially unprepared, Rick chose to take on the role of a father. Tragedy struck again, however, when their first child died due to a miscarriage. This heartbreaking event left a lasting impact on Rick, but it also taught him how to face adversity and develop the inner strength he would need to push through life's toughest moments. 2. The journey of building a career with the gold and silver pawn shop. Rick Harrison's life took a new turn when his entire family moved to Las Vegas in 1981. At that time, the Harrison family was struggling financially after a failed real estate investment in California. However, it was in this very city that Rick and his father, Richard Benjamin Harrison, began their professional journey, a path that not only transformed their own lives, but also made a significant mark in the American pawn industry. In the beginning, Rick's father opened a small shop that dealt in gold and silver, located on Las Vegas Boulevard South. Though the store was modest in size, only about 300 square feet, approximately 28 square meters, it was where Rick began to learn and develop his business skills. Thanks to his passion for history and deep knowledge of antiques, Rick quickly became an essential part of the store's appraisal and trading operations. He had a unique ability to provide valuable historical insights about the items, which not only increased their transaction value, but also earned the trust of their customers. Still, the early days of their business were far from easy. They faced numerous challenges, from finding customers to keeping the business financially afloat. To supplement their income, Rick also worked nights repossessing vehicles that had been seized by banks. It was a tough period, but Rick never gave up. His persistence helped the store grow, and within just 5 years, the Harrison family was able to move to a larger location on Fremont Street. However, this growth came with its own obstacles. After 2 years at the new spot, they lost their lease and were forced to relocate once again. A major turning point in Rick and his father's careers came in 1989 when they were finally granted a pawn license, something they had long pursued. Prior to that, a Las Vegas law enacted in 1955 had limited the number of pawn licenses based on the city's population. When Las Vegas reached a population of 250,000, Rick and his father quickly submitted their application. This was a critical milestone that allowed them to transition from a simple gold and silver shop to an officially licensed pawn business named the Gold and Silver Pawn Shop, located at 713 Las Vegas Boulevard South, near the famous Las Vegas Strip. At first, the shop primarily dealt with rare sports memorabilia and unique historical items. Over time, however, jewelry became their top-selling product. Rick and his father not only built a strong reputation within the local community, but also drew the attention of tourists thanks to the rare items and the fascinating stories behind them. By 2005, the shop had grown tremendously, issuing millions of dollars in loans annually and earning hundreds of thousands of dollars from interest. However, the biggest success of the Gold and Silver Pawn Shop didn't just come from its business operations, it also came from being the centerpiece of the reality TV show Pawn Stars. The idea for the show emerged in 2008 when producers Brent Montgomery and Colby Gaines of Left Field Pictures visited Las Vegas and saw the potential in the city's unique pawn shops. They were particularly impressed by the Gold and Silver Pawn Shop, not just for the value of the items traded there, but also for the engaging stories surrounding the Harrison family. Rick Harrison, who had previously appeared on television in a 2003 episode of Insomniac with Dave Attell, quickly saw the opportunity to turn his store into a TV star. Although the show's original concept was rejected by HBO, after the format was adjusted to focus more on family dynamics, the History Channel agreed to produce it. Initially titled Pawning History, the show was later renamed Pawn Stars, a clever play on the phrase porn stars. Pawn Stars officially premiered in July 2009 and quickly became a television phenomenon. The show captivated audiences not only with its unique items, but also thanks to the humorous interactions between the Harrison family members and their staff. Rick, who played the leading role, won over viewers with his extensive knowledge and a negotiation style that was both witty and sharp. It wasn't just a source of entertainment, it felt like a living history lesson, where audiences could learn about valuable antiques and the fascinating stories behind them. The popularity of Pawn Stars turned the Gold and Silver Pawn Shop into a world-renowned location. What started as a regular pawn business transformed into a tourist attraction, drawing in thousands of visitors each year. In 2011, Pawn Stars became the most watched program on the History Channel and ranked as the second most popular reality TV show in the United States, just behind Jersey Shore. That same year, Rick Harrison published his memoir, License to Pawn, Deals, Steals, and My Life at the Gold and Silver, which reached number 22 on the New York Times bestsellers list. The early years of Pawn Stars marked a golden era for Rick Harrison and his family. However, along with the spotlight of fame, Rick also had to face numerous personal and family-related struggles. These were the first signs of major tragedies that would eventually unfold, challenges that would test not only his business skills, but also Rick Harrison as a person. 3. A journey full of challenges. After a series of major accomplishments in both his career and the Pawn Stars show, Harrison had reached the pinnacle of success. However, behind the spotlight and the laughter seen on television lay countless personal struggles, complex family conflicts, and irreparable losses. One lesser-known aspect of Rick's life is his turbulent marriages and the deep emotional wounds he has endured. Although widely recognized as a successful businessman and a strong reality TV personality, Rick has faced many ups and downs in love and family life. Over the course of his life, he has been married 4 times, and unfortunately, none of those marriages had a happy ending. These relationships not only left a lasting emotional toll, but also had a significant impact on his personal life and career. Rick's first marriage was to Kim, his teenage girlfriend, in 1982, when they were both very young. At the time, Rick was only 17 and trying to build a career from scratch. Their relationship began under tough circumstances, and tragedy struck early when their first child was lost to a miscarriage. It was a devastating blow for both of them, especially for Rick, who was already struggling with financial pressure while coping with the grief of losing a child. Still, the couple pushed through the heartache and continued building a family. They went on to welcome 2 sons, Corey Harrison, born in 1983, and Adam Harrison, born in 1984. Corey later became Rick's close partner in the Gold and Silver Pawn Shop and the Pawn Stars series, while Adam chose a more private path, staying out of the spotlight. However, family life proved far from easy. Financial strain and the pressure of raising children gradually put a wedge between Rick and Kim. During this time, Rick had to take on multiple jobs to make ends meet, everything from selling counterfeit goods to repossessing cars for the bank at night. The ongoing stress took a toll not only on his career, but also on their relationship, which slowly grew cold. In the end, they divorced in 1985 when Rick was just 20 years old, leaving him to shoulder the responsibilities of fatherhood during the early years of his sons' lives. Not long after his first divorce, Rick began a new relationship with Tracy, a woman he once described as a trustworthy partner who stood by me during the hardest times. They got married in 1986, just as Rick was taking his first steps in building the pawn shop with his father. Tracy became more than just a wife. She was a devoted stepmother who helped Rick raise Corey and Adam. This second marriage lasted much longer than the first, but it wasn't without its own challenges. Over 2 decades together, Rick and Tracy faced many hurdles, from the early struggles of running a small business to the overwhelming success of Pawn Stars. However, that same success brought invisible pressures to the family. As Rick spent more and more time on work and television, the emotional distance between him and Tracy continued to grow. In 2011, after 25 years of marriage, Rick and Tracy decided to separate. The breakup came as a major shock to Rick, especially since it happened at the peak of Pawn Stars' popularity. He later admitted that the end of this relationship left him feeling empty and directionless, even though he always tried to maintain a good relationship with Tracy for the sake of their children. After his second marriage ended, Rick continued to look for a new chance at love and began a relationship with Deanna Burdett, a woman who had also been through 2 previous marriages. The couple officially tied the knot in 2013 in a lavish ceremony held in Laguna Beach, California, attended by over 200 guests, including celebrities like Danny Coker from the show Counting Cars. With Deanna, Rick not only found love, but also took on the role of stepfather to her 3 daughters. Rick once shared that becoming a part of Deanna's family brought him the joy and balance he had always been looking for. However, this marriage didn't last as long as Rick had hoped. After 7 years together, they officially divorced in 2020. Rick explained that the reason for their separation was irreconcilable differences in lifestyle and personal interests. Despite the breakup, Rick continued to maintain a good relationship with Deanna's daughters, treating them like family and remaining present in their lives. Not giving up on love, Rick entered into his 4th marriage with Amanda Palmer in 2021. Amanda is a young, energetic woman who brought a refreshing change to Rick's life. Although little is publicly known about their relationship, Rick has mentioned that Amanda has been his biggest source of encouragement in recent years, especially during the painful times when he lost both his father and his son. Rick's personal challenges have extended beyond marriage and into broader family issues. One of the most significant hardships he had to face was the passing of his father, Richard Benjamin Harrison, better known by his nickname, the Old Man, on the show Pawn Stars. Richard passed away in June 2018 after a long battle with Parkinson's disease. His death not only left a void in the family, but also placed the full burden of responsibility for both family and business on Rick's shoulders. Rick has said that losing his father was a major shock, not just because of their personal bond, but also due to the crucial role Richard played in the pawn shop and the TV show. The Old Man wasn't just a familiar face on screen, he was also Rick's mentor and trusted partner throughout his career. The loss of a father, colleague, and close friend pushed Rick into one of the most difficult periods of his life. Shortly after that, Rick was hit with another family crisis when his mother, Joanne Harrison, filed a lawsuit against him in 2022. In her complaint, Joanne accused Rick of taking advantage of her while she was hospitalized in the early 2000s to pressure her into signing over 51% of the pawn shop's ownership to him. She also claimed that Rick stopped sending the $25,000 monthly support payments she was supposed to receive from her late husband's estate. Joanne demanded that Rick provide transparent financial reports and return the money she believed had been withheld. The legal battle between Rick and his biological mother drew considerable public attention. Known and loved by many as a devoted family man, Rick found himself in a tough position facing serious allegations. However, he firmly denied his mother's claims, insisting that they were untrue and suggesting that she had been manipulated by others into turning against him. Rick stated that he had always tried to stay in contact and care for his mother, but received no response. To him, this was not just a financial dispute, but an emotional struggle with someone who had once been very close to him. Despite doing his best to stay strong, this series of painful events left deep marks on Rick Harrison's life. From personal losses to family conflicts, Rick faced not only the pressure of work, but also immense emotional distress. Still, these hardships have also revealed his resilience and strength in overcoming adversity. Rick is not just a successful businessman or a famous TV personality, he's also a man who knows how to rise after falling and keep moving forward. 4. The Tragic Climax. In Rick Harrison's life journey, perhaps no pain has been greater than witnessing the loss of his child. It was the darkest moment he had ever experienced, leaving an unfillable void in the heart of this father. In January 2024, Rick received devastating news. His second son, Adam Harrison, had passed away at the age of 39 due to a drug overdose involving fentanyl combined with methamphetamine. This was not only a personal tragedy for him, but also a reflection of a growing societal crisis that has brought countless American families to their knees. Adam's death was ruled an accident. On January 19, 2024, police and medical personnel in Clark County, Nevada, found Adam in an unresponsive state after an acquaintance reported him missing following a sudden loss of contact since January 17th. The coroner's report confirmed that he had died from an overdose of fentanyl and methamphetamine, two extremely dangerous substances that have claimed the lives of countless individuals across the U.S. The revelation left the Harrison family, especially Rick, in deep sorrow that words could hardly express. Known for his bright smile and calm demeanor on the show Pawn Stars, Rick Harrison could not hide his heartbreak. On his personal Instagram account, he posted a photo with Adam taken at a restaurant, accompanied by the caption, "You will always be in my heart. I love you, Adam." Though the message was simple, it was filled with emotion. The broken heart emoji alongside it fully conveyed the anguish of a father who had just lost his child. Fans and followers from all over quickly sent their condolences, hoping to offer some comfort to his grieving family. It wasn't just Rick. Corey Harrison, Rick's eldest son and close business partner, also expressed his sorrow over the loss of his younger brother. He posted a childhood photo with Adam on Instagram, with the caption, "I will always love you, Bubba." Although brief, the message was full of affection and deeply moved many people. While Adam rarely appeared on Pawn Stars, he had previously worked at the gold and silver pawn shop before switching careers to become a plumber, a job he loved and was passionate about. Adam's passing was not just a shock to his family, but also a stark warning about the ongoing fentanyl crisis in the United States. In an official statement, Rick Harrison called for stronger action to address the issue. He spoke not only as a grieving father, but also as a citizen who understood the gravity of the problem. Rick said, "The fentanyl crisis is killing way too many people in this country. It's something we cannot ignore." Adam's death forced Rick to reflect deeply on his purpose in life and how to move forward through adversity. Despite the severity of the blow, he tried to remain strong, supported by his family and close friends. Corey, along with Rick's longtime friend Austin Chumley Russell, stood by his side, helping him navigate the darkest period of his life. However, losing a child is not a pain that easily fades for Rick. He once shared that no matter how much he tried, the sorrow continued to linger in his heart. Memories of Adam, from childhood through adulthood, remained an inseparable part of his life. Rick often spoke of his son with pride, even though each memory now carried a quiet sadness. The pain of losing a child is something no parent ever wants to face. For Rick Harrison, this wasn't merely a personal loss. It was a harsh reminder of life's fragility. He continues to work and contribute, not only to uphold the family legacy, but also to spread a message of hope, love, and unity. Though the grief still lingers, Rick chooses to carry on, knowing that's what Adam and his other loved ones would want him to do. 5 difficulties during the COVID-19 era. The COVID-19 pandemic not only triggered a global healthcare crisis, but also had significant impacts on the economy and the lives of millions of people. The pawn industry, a long-established field that is often considered resilient during economic downturns, was not exempt from its effects. For Rick Harrison and the gold and silver pawn shop, the pandemic brought unprecedented challenges that threatened the survival of one of the most renowned pawn shops in the United States. At the beginning of 2020, as COVID-19 began to spread, Las Vegas, a city heavily reliant on tourism and entertainment, quickly became one of the hardest-hit areas. Due to lockdown orders and travel restrictions, the number of tourists plummeted, leading to severe revenue losses for many local businesses, including gold and silver pawn shop. Rick's establishment, known both as a popular venue featured on Pawn Stars and as a destination for international visitors, was hit hard by the significant drop in customer traffic. In an interview with Fox News, Rick revealed that the pandemic completely disrupted the traditional way the pawn industry operates. He explained that while many people believe pawn shops tend to thrive during economic crises, when individuals urgently need cash, the reality during the pandemic was entirely different. Lockdown orders and a reluctance to engage in close contact meant that customers no longer prioritized visiting pawn shops. Furthermore, government emergency financial assistance lessened the need for short-term loans from establishments like gold and silver pawn shop. The situation worsened when Rick was forced to suspend most of the shop's operations in March 2020 as COVID-19 cases surged in Nevada. The section of the store that served as a showroom for unique items and regularly attracted visitors was closed completely for 30 days, resulting in a drastic drop in revenue. Despite this, Rick and his team managed to maintain the core pawnbroking services through a nighttime transaction window. According to the shop's chief financial officer, they continued to buy assets and provide pawn loans around the clock to support customers experiencing financial hardships. Amid the growing tension, Rick demonstrated a sense of responsibility and empathy for the people of Las Vegas. He proactively reduced loan interest rates and extended redemption periods for customers, understanding that many were struggling to retain their personal property. In an interview with a local TV station in April 2020, Rick stated, "We've adjusted our interest rates and given people more time to reclaim their items. I know Las Vegas has given me so much, and now it's time to give back." Although Rick remained optimistic and hoped that the economy would rebound within 6 months, reality did not meet his expectations. The prolonged pandemic severely damaged the business at Gold and Silver Pawn Shop. According to Daily Mail, in 2020, the shop generated only about $37,000, a figure drastically lower than the over $1 million in annual revenue it earned before the pandemic. This was a major shock for Rick and his team, who had spent years building the shop's reputation and standing. In addition to the financial losses, Rick faced a personal blow when his third marriage to Deanna Burdett ended during the pandemic. Based on court records published by TMZ, the two finalized their divorce in 2020. Rick explained that differences in interests, lifestyles, and daily habits made it impossible for them to continue living together. Although their separation was amicable, it still weighed heavily on Rick's spirit, particularly as he was already under immense pressure from the pandemic and his business. Yet, Rick did not give up. He and his team quickly adapted to the new circumstances, focusing on maintaining business operations and exploring creative ways to overcome the difficulties. Rick also used this time to reconnect with his family and reflect on what truly mattered in life. He frequently shared meaningful moments with his grandchildren and his son Corey on social media, showing that even amidst many challenges, he found solace in family. In retrospect, COVID-19 was not only a significant professional challenge, but also a profound lesson for Rick Harrison. It taught him more about the fragility of success and the importance of flexibility and perseverance when facing unexpected setbacks. Despite enduring heavy losses, Rick proved that he is not only a skilled businessman, but also someone capable of overcoming adversity with determination and compassion. 6. Current life. After many years of facing various tragedies and challenges, Rick Harrison has managed to maintain a strong position in both the pawn industry and the world of television. Although he no longer works full-time at the Gold and Silver Pawn Shop, Rick has shifted his focus to new projects while dedicating more time to his family and seeking balance in his life. His success is not only reflected in business figures, but also in his ability to overcome adversity and continue contributing value to the community. A significant turning point in Rick's career was his involvement in a spin-off show called Pawn Stars Do America, an expanded version of Pawn Stars. The show began airing in 2022 and quickly captured public attention. Instead of staying solely at the Gold and Silver Pawn Shop, Rick, along with Corey Harrison and Austin Chumley Russell, embarked on a journey across the United States to meet collectors, seek out unusual items, and uncover unique historical stories behind them. This was not only a way for Rick to refresh the brand, but also an opportunity for him to connect with a wider audience. Even though he no longer manages daily operations, Rick remains the face and soul of the Gold and Silver Pawn Shop. The store continues to operate under the management of Corey Harrison and a longtime team of employees, maintaining the quality of service and reputation that his family has built over more than 30 years. The shop still welcomes thousands of visitors each year, especially fans of Pawn Stars who come not only to make transactions, but also to experience the store's rich historical atmosphere. Outside of work, Rick now prioritizes spending more time with his family and focusing on his personal life. After parting ways with Deanna Burdett, Rick found new happiness with his fourth wife, Amanda Palmer. The couple got married in 2021, and Rick shared that he hopes this marriage will bring him the peace and stability he has always longed for. Amanda has been not only a strong emotional support for Rick, but also someone who has helped him strengthen family bonds. Rick is also especially devoted to his grandchildren, who have brought him plenty of laughter and a sense of youthfulness in his life. On social media, Rick frequently shares intimate moments with his family, from distant trips to everyday close-knit moments. These images reveal another side of Rick and show that no matter how many ups and downs he has faced, family remains the most important thing to him. In addition to his business and television work, Rick has been actively involved in social and political activities. In 2020, he publicly expressed his support for Donald Trump during the presidential election and backed Daniel Rodimer in his campaign for Congress in the state of Nevada. Rick once shared that he had considered entering politics himself, even contemplating a run for governor of Nevada or for the U.S. Senate. While he has yet to make a final decision, Rick revealed that he always keeps the door open to this possibility, as he wants to contribute more to society and the community. Another memorable milestone in Rick's career came in 2023 when he was honored with the title of Kentucky Colonel, the highest recognition that the governor of Kentucky can bestow. This distinction served as a tribute to Rick's efforts in promoting cultural and historical values, as well as his role in connecting audiences with the stories behind rare and valuable antiques. The award ceremony took place at Locust Grove, where Rick expressed deep emotion and gratitude for receiving such an honor. Although he's no longer at the peak of his career, Rick Harrison has never lost his passion for work. His drive doesn't come from financial pressure or a desire for fame, but from genuine love for what he does. He enjoys learning about history, meeting people, and uncovering the stories he encounters along the way. Rick once said, "I don't work for the money. I work because I truly enjoy it. I love the feeling of discovery and learning something new from the antiques and the people I meet." Looking back on his journey, Rick Harrison is more than just a successful entrepreneur or a reality TV personality. He represents resilience, a living example of how someone can rise above adversity and find light even in the darkest moments. His life story is inspiring not just because of the accomplishments he's achieved, but also because of the way he has faced loss, challenges, and life's toughest obstacles. Today, Rick Harrison is enjoying a semi-retired lifestyle, spending more time with his family, focusing on personal projects, and continuing to be involved with Pawn Stars Do America. While he no longer appears regularly at the pawn shop, Rick remains the face of the Gold and Silver Pawn Shop and the Pawn Stars Show, a name forever tied to the world of pawnbroking and reality television. Rick Harrison, from a child who went through many hardships to a prominent figure in the pawn industry and reality television. Despite facing numerous serious setbacks and challenges, Rick has always stayed strong, overcome adversity, and continued to spread positivity. His life journey is a clear example of resilience and unwavering passion. Thank you for following along. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of the exciting stories coming up next. See you next time.